Ayo and Zibby, and we have two guests joining us on the show this morning. As always, we love it when you're a part of it, so let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0809 440 981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. And we're streaming live as well on our YouTube. Our channel is Smooth981 FM Lagos. And you can even post a comment on there as well. Our first guest is Onome Ohwovoriole. He's an analyst with Money Africa. Good morning, Onome. Nice to have you in the studio.
Good morning.
Morning, Onome. Good to have you.
And our second guest is Fola Abimbola, Senior Frontier Analyst at Stanbic IBTC. Good morning, Fola. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Morning.
Good morning. So we have a few broad headings to actually dive into. Aya, do you want to read the headlines?
Oh, yes. One of the first headlines here is Nigeria's agreement to convert $49 billion of loans from central bank. Also, Dangote Cement considers alternative fuels amid rising energy costs, and $33,000 GDP per capita. That's 6.3% unemployment rate. That's according to Buhari's Agenda 2050. And also, Nigeria Senate approves 22 trillion naira CBN loan conversion.
All right, let's dive straight in. Fola, can we start with the Senate approving 22.7 trillion naira in CBN loans to long-term bonds of 40 years? Could you just explain what exactly this means? Fola, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay.
so thanks for having me. I guess raising additional debt continues to add to the concerns that everyone has about our fiscal position and the fact that we've not been able to grow revenues in years, but we're piling on debt. It's kind of telling on what is going to happen to debt service to revenue ratio if they can't raise their revenues by decent amounts. So I guess that conversation of raising taxes through different means and raising oil revenues will continue to be in the mix. But on the whole, our debt position is around $100 billion, and this increases it by another $50 billion, which worsens debt to GDP, worsens debt service to revenue if we can't grow it. And unless there are reforms that would drive up our government revenues through taxes and through other means, net it doesn't seem positive.
Doesn't seem positive. All right. Now, by piling more debt onto Nigeria's balance sheet, what exactly does this mean for the exchange rate and capital projects as well?
So for capital projects, simply means that the government doesn't have money to do projects. And so when we use the term capital projects, we're talking about things such as building roads, new schools, essentially big items, right? And the bulk of the money that the government has going to pay or servicing it means that there's money for little other than just maintaining life, right? For the exchange rates, I would say that obviously we luckily or unluckily, depending on how you look at it, we don't have much pressure in the sense that the bulk of the debt that we owe as a country is in naira. But in the long run, if we continue in this path as a nation, it's going to be more expensive to borrow in USD, because I'm going to ask myself, it's like someone who has a debt issue. You get to a point, you ask yourself, do I want to continue lending this person? And if I'm going to do so, with stringent conditions. So the more we barrel down the road, the more debt is going to become expensive. And ultimately, even for a private company, if the country has a higher risk rating, it then means that a private company is going to have to borrow at a higher rate. So net is actually a bad situation.
Wow. All right, Fola, can we move on to the President's Agenda 2050? All right, so this agenda aims to get Nigeria's GDP per capita to 33,000 and along with unemployment down to 6.3% by 2050. Is this possible?
Well, I wouldn't say it's impossible because we've seen countries like Singapore do it. We've seen other countries in Southeast Asia, take their GDP from poverty levels up to countries, they're now competing with countries in the West, which is quite good. However, going by antecedents, we've seen programs like Vision 2020, we've seen other agendas, and unfortunately, they haven't worked. So if you go by antecedents and go by, how, it's possible to roll out plans and agendas that you want to do this by this date. However, in the past, we've not really achieved, even during this administration, we've not really achieved what we wanted to achieve. So it's difficult to see Nigeria climbing to a debt to GDP, a GDP per capita of 33,000 and bringing employment down to 6%. It's difficult to see this because we haven't started to, there hasn't been any strong reforms implemented. So things like the exchange rate, which is key for the economy, we haven't seen that, executed in a way that is going to increase private sector growth. So things like that haven't really, crystallized and what has not boded well for the economy. So it's hard to see this agenda coming to light, unfortunately.
All right. Now, speaking about the economy here, Onome, what do you make of the Nigerian economy, after 8 years of this current administration?
I'll say in summary that Nigerians are worse off, right? And let's use two criteria. Let's look at unemployment and let's look at GDP. So in the last 8 years, at best, the economy has grown 3.4%. That's the best it has done. And for an economy our size and where we are, we should be doing what, 6-7%. So if the economy is barely growing, it's growing poorly, it also means that the unemployment is going to be poor, and we have what, over 30% unemployment rate. So Nigerians are also, I'm not going to look at exchange rates and the likes because you might argue that, okay, that's a fiscal payment, that's a monetary change, right? That will be CBN and all that. But if you just look at GDP and unemployment rate, we're also, and we were in 2050.
Right, I've got a message coming through, and this is asking if Onome's Twitter is Kazimoto. All right, okay, he says, well, if yes, thank you for the fantastic work you do. What an interesting handle. Okay, you're listening to Business Express on Smooth 98.1. We have two guests with us this morning, Onome Ohwovoriole from Money Africa, and we also have Fola Abimbola, Frontier Analyst from Stanbic IBTC. Fola, I'm going to come to you. Let's talk about the Dangote cement and the plan to cut power cost rather. One possible plan is to use compressed natural gas for trucks. What do you make of this?
Well, so in a nutshell, I think it's a good move because the power costs account for a large portion of Dangote Cement's operating earnings. And in the past, due to challenges around the gas infrastructure, they've had to resort to diesel, which is quite expensive. We've seen how diesel prices have moved over the last year. So compressed natural gas, which could be moved to their plants, irrespective of their infrastructure. I think it's a good move, and I think it will help for them. It will help them to keep their production costs in check.
All right. Now, Onome, why compressed natural gas CNG? I mean, why not electric vehicles? What do you make of this choice? It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Because we don't have stable electric power supply. That's one way to look at it. And the people on the other side will argue with you that if I have an electric Tesla, right, in the city of Lagos, ultimately I'm charging it indirectly or directly with dirty fuel. So I'm either charging it with a generator or I'm charging it with power, which is epileptic and unstable. Well, I'd say to expand a bit more, even though CNG would be there, the challenge we have is we're not operating at capacity at LNM, right? So the gas national gas project that we have, it's not capacity. That's one. Two is we should have expanded it long time ago, and unfortunately we're not doing that. And then it goes back to the government because we're taking that money and funding, and government is taking dividends, right, rather than investing it. So I mean, yeah, CNG would be there, things to do, but we're halfway there. We just need to increase domestic supply, and ultimately we need to have LNG operating close to capacity.
You're listening to Business Express on Smooth 98.1. If you've got a question or a comment, you can, of course, send it to us via WhatsApp 0809 440 981. You can also tweet at Smooth 981. We're streaming live as well up on YouTube. Just search for Smooth 981 on YouTube. You can find the channel, catch the live stream, and post a comment on as well. So, Fola, do you think that other companies will follow suit?
Well, I guess one has to look at the business case and analyze the viability of migrating to CNG, because one has to consider the investment cost of switching to CNG. And the truth is, a lot of manufacturing companies would like to bring their power costs down due to power challenges as well as high diesel costs. So I think there is that, I think there's that consideration for companies, or I think there is that option for companies to explore CNG and other cheaper alternatives at the moment. But one has to look at the investment cost of switching towards that. But in a nutshell, I think it's worth exploring.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Onome, do you have any last words? Wow, that's not optimistic, Onome. Fola?
I'm really hoping to see quite a bit of silver linings despite what might be, down the road in the near future.
Absolutely, there will be some of that. Fola, any last words?
No, not really. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for Business Express this morning. Special thanks to our guests for joining. Onome Ohwovoriole, an analyst with Money Africa, and Fola Abimbola, Frontier Analyst, Stanbic, IBTC. Thank you for coming on Business Express this morning. That is all the time for Business Express, but do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast. Okay, he's gone.